Hey there, YouTube. It's Ryan from Ryan Welton Music. And I'm in the car, and I'm going to be driving, but I'm going to let you know first off that I'm looking at the road. I'm not looking at you. I'm looking at the road. I wanted to find an efficient way to do more videos, and this is a way to do that. And today I want to talk about music education and an experience that I had last night and some takeaways. 3 reasons why I think music education at the public school level is so valuable to kids both now and in the future. Stick around. So I'm headed to the dentist once again to pick up a retainer that will help me stop clenching and grinding at night. Perhaps it's just an interim one, but I'm excited to go pick it up, and I gotta grab lunch. A busy day here at work in the news world, but no huge breaking news happening right now locally. Last night I went to Will Rogers Elementary in Putnam City. That's a school district that's part of Northwest Oklahoma City, and watched a 4th grade demonstration for orchestra. Brand new students to the violin, demonstrating their pizzicato, and hearing from their instructor, whose name I believe was Jeremy Scott, talk about the value of orchestra and what parents can do to support children who happen to be in orchestra. And you might not know this about me, but I was in orchestra, West Junior High, 1982 to 84, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, under the tutelage of Joyce Keith, our orchestra master. Played violin for 3 years and haven't picked it up since. And by the way, I'm kind of tempted to pick it up again because of this. It was a wonderful instrument to learn, and Jeremy explained much better than I could why orchestra is so important, and hence why music education. I got to tell you, his teaching methodology was something called the Suzuki method. He asked the audience if we were familiar with Suzuki, and I started to raise my hand and say, yeah, the motorcycles. No, it's a teaching method that takes into account the holistic person, teaching the student the violin with regard to the whole person, being a better citizen, a better student. And I thought, how fabulous. Why have I never heard of this? Why isn't there that for piano and guitar? Maybe there is. I don't know. I'm just learning here. But I was a violin student for 3 years, and in this case, they're only giving violins to the kids starting an orchestra. Everybody starts with violin, and then you can move on to viola and cello and bass and whatnot. But the Suzuki method in treating the whole person in terms of music education, I thought was fascinating. And he mentioned a few reasons why music education, and specifically being an orchestra kid, was so important. The first thing he mentioned was you're going to build lifelong friends. It's so neat to be able to go through elementary school, junior high, and high school together as a group. And I was nodding in agreement, and he noticed that, and we talked about it afterward. And I told him, I said, dude, Christy and I on a spring break trip just last year went and visited my buddy Brian in Phoenix. You know where I know Brian? Orchestra. We've been friends for 36 years, and it started with orchestra. He played the cello, I played the violin. Long before he knew I played the piano, we were both fans of the band Chicago, right about the time that Chicago 17 was coming out, and have always just had a musical connection. But we've also had a friendship that's centered on orchestra. Check mark. He's dead on right about that. The second thing is that music education, especially learning a hard instrument like the violin, and I admit that it's difficult, but even as a jazz musician, music education teaches you how to take on hard tasks. And not just how to take on hard tasks, but being willing to take on hard tasks. So many people are afraid to try new ventures because it's difficult. And at a young age, learning how to play the violin and taking that on, so foreign to our bodies, holding that instrument up and using the bow, your left and your right hand do distinctly different things. It is a hard task, and it teaches you to be willing to take those on head on. And I think the last thing that it teaches you, in addition to taking on hard tasks and developing friendships over time, is it gives you a conduit for emotion, whether that be sadness, anger, frustration, whatever it might be. You might not think that that's a real thing, but look at musicians over history. And in a world where the battle often lies between the folks who support gun rights and mental health advocacy, think what music education could do to support those who need a mental health outlet. Not just people who are borderline institutional, but all of us who go through emotional swings back and forth from time to time. Music education could actually lower violence across the country. It's that important. You can channel anger, frustration, sadness, and you don't even know it. And in fact, sometimes happiness. I find that most of the music I write is happy or sentimental, sometimes funny, and those happen to be emotions that I'm channeling, subliminally or not. Speaking of which, I hope you checked out How Deep Is Your Love, my quick cover last night. It's a song that I've always loved. I've always loved the Bee Gees, and it is sentimental for me because Saturday Night Fever, the soundtrack, was an album that my mom, who passed away in June, loved. We grew up on the Bee Gees, and we grew up on that song, so I absolutely loved it. So, again, check mark, teacher. You nailed it. Music education is beneficial from the perspective of lifelong friendships and associations, learning how to become willing to take on hard tasks, and providing a healthy outlet for emotion. Man, if you're not supporting music education in our public schools, you think it's a waste of time. Really, I just don't understand where you're coming from. I support it wholly, and I appreciate you taking the time to actually watch this video. And I've made it to my destination safely. I'm going to go say hi to the dentist. Hope you all have a nice day.